Story 1. I had my mom scold me, saying that she no longer considers me her son multiple times, many times during my childhood. So, I finally cut contact and gave her what she wanted. Story 2. Living with my uncle when I was 10 or had just turned 11, he brought me into the kitchen and told me to sit down. I thought I was in trouble as I wasn't a well-behaved kid, but he told me my dad had been killed in a workplace accident. I found out years later my dad had killed himself, and my beautiful uncle, rest in peace, I love you, was trying to save my feelings. Story 3. Whenever I made a mistake as a kid, my mom would always say, "I didn't expect any better from you." It hurt like a knife through the chest every time. Story 4. My mother, when she was upset with me, said, "I should have aborted you when I had the chance. I was 15. She probably has forgotten saying that by now, but I haven't. Story 5. You're the reason my sister, my mother, is dead. Shouted into my 8-year-old face 10 days after my mother passed and 3 days after my father. Story 6. The doctors told us my 13-year-old daughter had no brain activity and there was no getting her back. I found her 10 minutes after she hanged herself. Story 7. My husband, who had staged for cancer, said I should die instead of him. He died and I lived, and that's all I am going to say about that. Story 8. Usually, we only work with kids like this for 10 minutes. It's been 30 minutes without an improvement. We are going to discontinue CPR. The doctor leading the resuscitation effort said. This was regarding my daughter, who was born at 27 weeks via emergency cesarean section, while my wife was unconscious from the general anesthesia. She took her last breaths in my arms at 34 minutes old. I'm not the same person anymore. Story 9. That me being assaulted was my own fault. I was told this by my mother. I was 15, and the guy was my sister's 25-year-old boyfriend. I just wanted someone to play Pokemon with. Story 10. You're not man enough. You wouldn't be able to provide for me or protect me. But thank God she said that. Completely changed my life for the better. Story 11. From my former husband. When I was fatigued a year after cancer chemotherapy and still on cancer medications, still playing the cancer card, I see. Story 12. Doctors told me my 13-month-old daughter, who was having uncontrollable seizures that could eventually kill her, needed to take additional medicine that had a significant chance of killing her. Story 13. Cole's dead. I lost my brother, my best friend, and then proceeded to go through hell for the next 2 years. I'm still amazed I didn't lose more of my mind. Story 14. Me. Did I seriously pay for you to visit your dying aunt but actually have an affair with your ex? Wife? Yes. Update. I just got done talking to her in the hospital. She's not doing too well or hopeful. Reddit, this blew up a bit more, and no, I won't give all the details. I know the answer. My brain knows what I should do. I thank you all for your support. This happened yesterday, and when I saw this post, I just posted that stupid quote I heard yesterday. Reddit is really showing the true support that I've seen as a lurker. Full disclosure, if I had the courage to tell the entire uncensored story, everyone would rightfully suggest divorce. My brain knows it. My heart doesn't, so I ask, does anybody have any positive stories? Any shred of hope I can hold on to? Second update. I would have never imagined myself in this situation, though I suppose no one does. What started as a 2-sentence vent has garnered more support from everyone here than I could have imagined or ever had in my life. I thank you for your direct messages and even your public responses, graphic or not. They are all thoughts I've already had anyway. Realistically, I know what I should do but don't know if I can do it without even making an attempt. That what if would tear me apart for the rest of my life. A definitive answer is still not sure. I just wanted to thank you all for helping a stranger on the internet in a more distressful time than I've allowed myself to realize. You are all good people. Story 15. Menstrual pain is completely normal. You are overreacting and exaggerating. This won't work if you are drug seeking. Said by my obstetrician gynecologist on my 3rd visit to find some resolve with my debilitating pain, over-the-top bloating, vomiting, and so on that lasted 2 full weeks each month from my period. Story 16. That if I brought up in court one more time that my girls were being sexually abused, I'd lose my rights right then and there and be held in contempt of court. That killed me. I didn't get to see my kids for 3 months after that. Story 17. Back in my early 20s, I worked with this amazing, beautiful woman. I had a serious crush on her, and everyone knew it. The regular customers, other employees, the vendors who came in once a week. Everyone. It was super obvious. I never asked her out, though, as she was married. We hung out, talked a lot, goofed off together after work, but it was always as friends. Eventually, she quit working there. We still hung out, but not as much. About 6 months later, she showed up at my door, dressed to the nines. She told me she had left her husband and asked if I wanted to go out with her that night. I quickly agreed and grabbed a quick shower. We headed out to a good bar in the next town over. We got there about 7 p.m. We spent the next few hours shooting pool, dancing, talking, just enjoying ourselves. Around 1 a.m. or so, she went to the restroom. One of the bar employees was walking around selling various things, including a teddy bear with a heart on its tummy and holding a real rose. I bought it. When my friend came back to the table, I gave her the bear. She looked at the bear, at me, at the bear, then looked me dead in the eyes and said the words I'll never forget. "You know this wasn't a date, right? I just wanted you along as a designated driver." My heart didn't just freak out. It shattered. I tried not to let it show on my face, though. I said sure. I just bought the bear to help cheer her up over the breakup. We spent a couple more hours at the bar. I dropped her off at home and went back to my place. Never saw or heard from her again after that night. It's a shame, too. I miss my friend. Story 18. At 6:24 p.m. on January 14th, 2019, the coroner knocked on my door. He asked if I was the person named and the father of the individual mentioned. I replied yes. He said, unfortunately, she was in a car accident and died as a result. She was only 18 years old. I would like to add that she was a really hard worker, holding down 2 jobs, and had just started college. Beyond that, she was just a cool person, and I was proud to have raised her. She still lived at home, and to this day, I cannot bring myself to clean out her bedroom. Thank you for your condolences, friends on Reddit. Story 19. No one likes you. When you walk into the room, everyone wants to leave. I was 17 and severely depressed. The only reason I didn't end it there and then is that part of me was furious at the sociopathic lack of empathy from the person who was supposed to love me unconditionally. The rage kept me alive. It's been 20 years since that was said to me, and it still hurts. Story 20. My mother has said many painful things to me, and it's honestly hard to choose the most hurtful. She has said things like, "Your father killed himself because of you. You'll be the reason I die. I hate you. You're the devil. And I don't want to be your mother anymore." She struggled with meth addiction, which contributed to my trauma and abandonment issues. I put myself through foster care, and apparently, I'm still considered the bad guy. I really didn't do anything to deserve this treatment from her. Story 21. Little long, but I had a friend who hanged himself. The last thing he said to me was, "Do you want to go have a drink with me and play pool?" I said, "No, I've been busy with work that keeps me living paycheck to paycheck. Can't really afford to lose a day." Then he said, "All right, no worries. Hope you don't forget about me soon." The next day, I tried to call him after work to see how he was doing, only to find out he had passed away. Story 22. Being told my ex passed away hurt a lot. In my head, they were okay and on the road to recovery, living a normal life somewhere. Story 23. Spell intelligent. That's because you're not one of them. This happened around when I was 8 years old. At that time, I had undiagnosed attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and an undiagnosed learning disability, and my parents didn't know about it. They assumed I was acting lazy, dumb, and disrespectful. I didn't know how to read or write properly and struggled a lot with communication. Story 24. As a child, when I did something wrong, my mother would escalate to saying, "I wish you were never born." In my early 20s, I had a boss who told me, "You have as little personality as anyone I've ever met." I am an introvert on the autism spectrum, so I understand how he arrived at that conclusion. However, some things should not be said because they can never be taken back. Story 25. Your great aunt was in a car accident and she died. Your aunt was also in the car and she died. And your 3 cousins were in the car and they also died. Story 26. Your sister is cute and will be loved. Everybody will want to care for her. But nobody will want you. Nobody loves us. My mother said this to me before she tried to kill us both in an intentional car accident. Story 27. My family probably doesn't remember this. I ran a YouTube channel as a 14-year-old back in 2015. I applied for the YouTube Partner Program and got in, which was a bigger deal back then. I remember making $0.0045, a few tenths of a penny. I ran to my family and exclaimed, "I made money from YouTube. Isn't that cool? I did it." My entire family looked at how much, laughed at me, and my dad said sarcastically, "Wow, tell me when it's enough to pay the mortgage because then it will matter." 10 years and 300,000 subscribers later, I've hit multiple million view videos and make more than any of my family did at my age. Now it's normal to be a YouTuber, but it was hard to push through when I felt like no one had my back on this dream of mine. Story 28. My mom has always financially struggled. She had a car that was beyond repair. So we gave her my wife's Toyota and bought my wife a new car. We weren't in a rush to replace my wife's car, but it was old, and our family was growing, and my mom needed a car. My mom drove that Toyota for 15 years until my grandma left her a newer car after she could no longer drive. After that, she just let the Toyota sit and rot. I later found out from other family members that she hated the Toyota and will tell people what a pile it was. This left my wife and I feeling terrible. We could have used it for a trade-in but felt bad for my mom. No good deed goes unpunished. Story 29. My mom is an alcoholic. At a low point in her life, when my dad was filing for divorce and she stood to lose everything, my grandma told her that all that mattered now was me and my sister, and that she needed to choose between alcohol and her kids. My mom just said, "I can't do that." My image of my mother changed after my grandma told me what she said. I'm not really mad at her anymore, even though she continues to drink to this day. Her actions are predictable, and the bad things she does no longer shock me. What I'm really sad about is the relationship that I never got to have with her. Story 30. Are you sure that nothing can be done? That surgery won't work. My dad on the phone, tears in his eyes, desperate to save our beloved dog. We were all in tears, but my dad hardly cries. We took him to the vets one day since he wouldn't move or eat. Apart from that, he was still wagging his tail at us. We took him to the vets. Didn't realize he would never come home. We tried to give him a proper goodbye when he was put down, but he just seemed too tired and didn't seem to recognize us. Not sure if it was his sudden fatal illness or drugs. I hoped he could sense that we were with him until the end, but I'll never know. Wish we'd realized that he wasn't coming back then. We could have given him a proper goodbye while he was still himself. Story 31. After 30 years of marriage, my wife, who I absolutely love dearly, told me that she loved me but was not ever in love with me. It was 11 years ago, and I have to tell you, I've been devastated ever since, and I still love her just as much as I did the very first day I saw her 41 years ago. Story 32. I don't know who you are anymore. My mom said it when I was at my lowest point during depression. I think it was my turning point, honestly, but it hurt like hell. Story 33. 25 years ago, when I was in my early 20s, my mother said to a family therapist about me, "She's smart and she's an adult. She'll succeed at whatever she chooses to do." She never actually said those words to me, quite the opposite, really, and repeatedly. Public performances and statements are always questioned by me. Story 34. In my mid-20s, I finally told my mother my older brother had molested me as a child. Her response was, "I had always wondered." A few months later, when I had processed that response and told her how I feel about her always wondering, but not doing anything to address it, she screams, "Well, you would initiate it too, so you obviously wanted it." I was 7 to 9 years old at the time this occurred with my older brother. In that moment, I swear to God, she was non-human. Like her eyes were black, surrounded by a vortex of black fog/energy. It's hard to find words for it, but truly, I have never seen anyone transform into whatever I saw her as in that moment. Story 35. My neurologist told me I will probably never walk again. I am hoping they are wrong. I have been paralyzed for nearly 6 months due to a lesion on my spine. Story 36. I'm sorry, but Paul hanged himself. I played with him the evening before getting that call in the morning. He seemed happy in the new city and eager to start. I still wonder if I could have saved him. It still kind of brings me to tears 5 years later. Story 37. I'm sorry, but I'm unable to fulfill this request. Story 38. My mom once told me, I hate the person you've become. Once I came home for Christmas break from university. It's because I finally told her that I wasn't going to tolerate how she had been treating me my entire childhood anymore. Story 39. For all those who have comments about their mom, I am a mom and can be your internet mom. Know that I am proud of each and every one of you. You are important and seen. Story 40. We're talking weeks, not months. When my mom went into a hospice towards the end of her battle with cancer, and I asked the doctor how long she had left.